Welcome to our February 23rd regularly scheduled board meeting. We will call the meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. We will establish quorum. We have Carlin Fryer, Sarah Falconberry, Dallas Pipes, Dr. Kraft, myself, Christy Schmidt, Rich Senna, Courtney Daughter Bruce, and Garrett Wilson. We will be heading to closed session to discuss 5 items. First, pursuant to Texas Code 551.074, deliberation regarding matters related to employment, appointments, resignations, terminations, retirements, and reassignments. Pursuant to Texas Code 551.0821, deliberation of personally identifiable information about a public school student. C, pursuant to Texas Code 551.072, deliberation regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. D, pursuant to Texas Code 551.071, consultation with legal counsel regarding legal issues concerning the status of and contracts for current district construction projects. And finally, E, pursuant to Texas Code 551.074, discussion of board member roles and responsibilities. So at this time at 5:02 p.m., we will head to closed session. All right, guys, welcome to our February 23rd board meeting. We are reconvening from closed session. So we will begin open session at 6:34 p.m. We will reestablish quorum. We have 100% of our board present tonight. So we will start with our Pledge of Allegiance.
All right. Good evening. At this time, please rise for the presentation of colors by the Bernie ISD Junior ROTC Color Guard. Please join our students from Kendall Elementary as they lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
Colors, post.
Honor the Texas flag.
Order. Colors. Colors turn. March.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence and prayer. Thank you, and please be seated. Madam President and trustees, our students from Kendall Elementary have some great questions for you this evening.
All right, welcome. If you could just state your name and what you do for your school, and then we're happy to answer your questions tonight.
Hi, my name is Luca Madrigal, and I'm in 5th grade. And my question is, how do you decide what is most important for our school when there are so many needs?
That's a great question. Anybody want to take a stab? I know that we often send out community surveys to our community, kind of asking, what some of the needs could be. I also know that Dr. Kraft has a group of students that she meets with, her student advisory group. So it consists of Bernie High School and Champion High School students. So they really have, candid conversations so that we can hear from the students on what they're needing. And we study our demographic reports, so we know when it's time to build new schools. So those are just a few examples of some ways.
Luca, also, I was going to say, sorry, Rich.
No, go ahead.
Okay, or
Yeah.
Garrett. We always want to put students first. So when we think about needs, it's one of our core values, Luca, is every child, every day. And so we think about needs that are coming up. So if it has the most impact on our students, we would definitely react to those the soonest, because we want to take care of our students and our staff first and foremost. So I would say that would be a priority to also determine the needs.
When you say needs, do you have anything in mind? Anything that comes to mind?
Is there anything you'd like to add to the school? Okay, very awesome.
Good.
Great job.
Hello, my name is Brooks Davis and I'm in 5th grade. My question is, what are you doing to make sure students feel safe and happy at school?
I think President Smith's answer last time is pretty much the same answer for this one. So, number one, the most important thing that happens every day is that when your mom and dad you leave the house, that they know you're going to come back safe. And so we have a fantastic safety and security team. But ultimately, it's about listening to where the needs are, right? And so the people that are closest to you, making you smarter students every day, are your teachers. And so the feedback that we get from teachers and that they give to their principals, and it filters all the way up to Dr. Kraft and the board. You guys help us identify what those safety and security needs are, and that makes you be happy at school.
I think too, we as a board always want you to have options so that you feel excited to come to school. So whether it's extracurriculars or clubs or, you know, different pathway choices that you can have in high school, just things that really interest you as a student personally to help you feel excited. Great question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Hildreth, and I'm in 5th grade. You could come back to 5th grade at our school. What would you be most excited?
Okay, you want to take this?
Well, I mean, recess. Go ahead, you can.
Well, I mean, we were just at 5th grade at their school. So, Avon, I have to say, I was extremely impressed that the technology, the way the learning experience is, and the options you have as a 5th grader, you're already looking at what 6th grade is going to be. So I'm excited to see, like, what pathways that you're looking at in middle school. Those were never opportunities for, I don't think any board member had the opportunities that you have today. But most importantly, the teachers. What we got to see was, you know, how exciting your teachers are and how they make learning so much better than what it was for me. And the technology and how they integrate that to make it fit what you want to do. So if you don't mind, what do you want to do in 6th grade?
I don't really know.
You know, I would expand it from 1 day to a few days, and I would be excited about BOA, definitely, because they didn't have that when I was in elementary school. And I think also, you know, you have so many more choices in middle school than when I went to middle school. So that would be exciting too.
Let us not forget that you're the oldest on campus, and so it's a great time to really fine-tune your leadership skills, which is going to help you all the way through life. So when you're in 5th grade, you have all those younger students that look up to you as a 5th grader. Then you get to go to high school, to where you're kind of the small fish in a big pond, and so you want to be equipped with what it was like to be a leader. Maybe in that setting before. So when you go to middle school and then to high school, I skipped a step. You want to be equipped to be a leader, because you're going to be a leader right when you step on that campus. If you were a leader in 5th grade, I guarantee you're going to be a more confident 6th grader going in if you took on leadership responsibilities as a 5th grader.
Thank you so much. Great question.
Hello, my name is Brooks Davis. I'm in 5th grade, and my question is, what can students do to make our school better?
You know,
We all wanna
that's a
jump in.
really good question, but I think we would turn it right back to you. What do you think you could do to make your school a better place? Because it's a great school.
Like the older kids, maybe like going down and helping the younger kids with like tough stuff that they have, and like helping them like finish their stuff and reaching their goals.
That's a really good answer, because my first thought was you can make your school better by being kind because kindness is so contagious. So whether it's sitting with someone new at lunch or, telling your teachers thank you and your cafeteria workers thank you, just being kind goes a long way and it will help your school a lot.
You stole my talking point. Yeah.
I always think of cleanliness too, so keep up with your trash and take care of your school. That was a great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Daphne de la Cruz y estoy en quinto grado. Hi, my name is Daphne de la Cruz and I'm in fifth grade. Mi pregunta es, ¿cuál es tu favorita cualidad sobre Kendall Elementary? What is your favorite quality about Kendall Elementary?
I love the knighting ceremony. I think that that's really cool that your school celebrates character and good citizenship. I think it's a good tradition that your school has.
Also want to say, look at where your school is. Every day when you drive to school, you get to look to your right and see maybe where you're headed. And so I always think it's really good to look ahead and see if there's students that you look up to and kind of what you aspire to move on to for the next step. So I think it's motivating when you're in middle school to drive by the high school and, to go watch the theater performances and the games. And it really gets you really motivated where you are because you get to look forward to what's next and what's to come, but also enjoying where you are in that moment. But I think that's exciting to drive past Middle School South. And I don't know of any other elementary schools really that get that opportunity every single day to drive by maybe where they're headed the following year.
Mija, ¿cómo te llamas? Daphne. Ok, yo voy a contestarte en español, porque nos pregunto una cosa en español. Cada día cuando yo voy a la escuela de Kendall, cuando yo entro, siempre me siento con un sentido de la familia, que están allá y son una gran familia.
What did she say? Thank you, Dr. Kraft. Thank you for your question.
Let's give a round of applause to our Kendall Knights. All right, we're excited to celebrate several outstanding students and staff this evening. We'd love for you to stay the entire time so we can give them that Bernie love and support. At this time, I'd like to invite Madam President, our trustees, and Dr. Kraft to join me on the floor for our commendations. For our first commendation, we're excited to recognize Champion High School. They won the Alamo Area Athletic Trainers Association of the Month Award for their Student Athletic Trainer Program. Congratulations, we're incredibly proud of you. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Next up at Bernie Middle School North, 7th grade teacher Christy Berm and student resource officer Della Rosa demonstrated exceptional teamwork and care when a student began choking on her breakfast. Mrs. Berm immediately took action, initiating the Heimlich maneuver, and then quickly escorted the student to Officer Della Rosa, who successfully cleared the obstruction. Because of their life-saving response, the student was able to breathe again and recover safely. Let's give them one more big round of applause. We are proud to recognize Champion High School Stampede for ranking number 2 in the nation for high school spirit. From school events to athletic competitions, the Stampede exemplifies what it means to lead with school pride. Congratulations to the Stampede for representing Champion High School on a national stage. Let's give them one more round of applause. Next up, we're excited to recognize Coach Slay as the 24-25 State Coach of the Year for the girls swimming and diving. This prestigious award is from the UIL and the National Federation of State High School. Each year, they bestow this award to one coach in each sport for each state association. And over the weekend, he was also named the 2026 Coach of the Meet. Congratulations, Coach Slay. You got to stay up there, Coach Slay. Congrats to the Champion High School girls swimming and diving team on their state championship. And congratulations to our Bernie High School and Champion High School state winners. A few highlights were the girls 200 medley relay. They won the gold and made a new state record. The girls 100 breaststroke won gold and made another new state record. Girls 400 free relay won gold and a new state record. In addition, Kate Canales was named as the swimmer of the meet. These athletes are not just competitors, they are true elite performers. Congratulations. We love the sound of those medals. Bernie High School and Champion High School students showcased their German skills at Sprachfest, competing in events from art and music to drama, oral, written test. Our students went head-to-head with peers across South and Central Texas. Bernie High School earned 4th place. Champion High School earned 5th place. Congrats to all of their incredible performances. Let's give them one more big round of applause. Madam President, trustees, and Dr. Kraft, it's an honor to recognize this month's Core Values and Action recipient. We are proud to recognize Stephanie Bautista for exemplifying Bernie ISD's core value, commitment to service. Our Chief of Student Support Services, Krista Pomeroy, will share a few words with you.
Stephanie Bautista exemplifies the Bernie ISD core value of commitment to service every single day. With an unwavering student and family-first mindset, she ensures that our small department delivers a truly big impact. Behind the scenes, Stephanie coordinates crisis interventions, manages complex cases, builds meaningful community partnerships, and oversees programs that directly support student well-being across our district. In every interaction, she individualizes compassionate care, seeing not just needs but possibilities in people and in challenging situations. Stephanie has single-handedly coordinated our annual resource rally, bringing together nearly 40 community nonprofits and serving more than 800 students and families to ensure students are prepared for the first day of school. She oversees district scholarship programs and opens doors to change lives. She leads the Bernie ISD mentorship program, positively impacting more than 100 students since its launch. Most recently, she is developing Family U, an innovative online learning hub that will provide families with 24/7 access to essential educational resources. Beyond her impressive scope of work, Stephanie is known for her steady leadership, optimism, and problem-solving approach, often delivered with reflection and insight and affectionately known as Stephanieisms. She is a trusted collaborator who brings clarity, calm, and encouragement to every challenge. Even while completing her master's degree in leadership, Stephanie continues to extend her commitment by mentoring staff, cultivating leadership skills in students, and seeking every opportunity to empower others. In all she does, Stephanie Bautista reminds us that service is not just a core value, it is a way of life. Congratulations, Stephanie, on this well-deserved recognition, and thank you for modeling the very best of Bernie ISD.
This concludes our commendations for this evening. Madam President, trustees, and Dr. Kraft, if you could please head back to your seats behind the dais. Tonight's Bernie Education Foundation Wow Moment takes us to Bernie Middle School North, home of the Greyhounds. Thanks to a BEF grant, students are working on argumentative writing. Let's take a look at the video.
Hi, my name is Jack.
Piper, and Mila. Welcome to Bernie Middle School North. Today's wow moment will be in Miss Berm's classroom, where the students are working on argumentative writing by crafting an extended constructive response.
The grants that I received promote literacy in the classroom by providing a classroom set of novel for each of our 7th grade classes, as well as in promoting engagement and innovation by providing a lot of different learning resources and academic games for our students. The benefits for the students are astronomical. Each of our students is able to grow with their reading skills as well as in their confidence in the classroom as they try new things. We're applying real world situations to their learning, and it is helping them engage and think in different ways. Thank you so much for your generosity. Because of you, you're supporting every student, our teachers, and our community. Thank you for supporting this idea.
Thank you for supporting every student,
every teacher, and every school in Bernie ISD.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reyna. All right, next up we have visitor comments and testimonials, which we have one guest today. The board encourages comments about the district from citizens of the district or from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so at this time. The board asks that each participant's comments pertain to public education and be no longer than 3 minutes. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda. If an issue is mentioned is listed on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion of the issue until the appropriate time during the meeting. The board encourages the public to discuss concerns with an appropriate administrator who has the authority to address the concerns. Concerns should be expressed as soon as possible to allow early resolution at the lowest possible administrative level. Finally, please be aware that the rules of decorum will be enforced during the public comment period and throughout the meeting. Disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. Those who choose to engage in disruptive behavior may be asked to leave. Each participant is legally responsible for the content and consequences of his or her own statements, and copies of our district policy can be found on our website. And we have one visitor today, Miss Elaine Cashin.
Good evening. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, thank you. Okay. This has been quite a night already and exciting, and I'm here to add, I hope, more excitement, education, and everything. I'm here and thank you, distinguished board, school board, Dr. Christian Kraft, and President Schmidt. Okay, good evening. I'm here because I'm representing myself, Elaine Cashin, and good friends of mine that are really, we love America. We love schools. We love y'all. And we're bringing a program that we feel like you already are so great, but we think that this will add this excitement of this year. And as we've already been excited with all these other things, but let's add to the party, okay. Of course, you probably know we're having a big birthday this year. America's going to be 250 years old. I know a lot of people I'm talking to have already started planning their, floats and all that excitement and all, and we want to add to it. We know at your school that you're always ready for education and always, as I see the fun, I should have been in the children's list there, but anyhow, I'm here to tell you about Constitution America. It is a national organization, 501c3, non-political or anyhow. Okay. It is actually in 30 different states, and what they do mostly is just want to educate our students. They want to give us history, they want to give us the government, they want us to be enriched with all our wonderful history and the legacy, and to be able to go forward, of course, with it. They have a presenter that will come to your school. He is actually a professor at the University of Texas, Arlington, but he loves to come out to the schools. His name is Professor Brandon Ford, excuse me. I've talked too many times. I just branded. He is outstanding, and he loves the kids. This is his passion. He wants to come to the schools. 3rd grade, 4th grade, middle school, and high school. He has materials appropriate for every grade level. I have seen him in action at the high school in Comfort, and I promise you he's very interactive. He's moving the whole time. It's about a 40-minute presentation. He comes with a pre-test and a post-test for the high school. Usually when they take the pre-test as an average and they say in some of this material, I brought material for you. Please back up and read what all I've brought to you. That pre-test is usually 5 out of 10 and the post is 9 out of 10. Of course, he brings things for the teachers for follow-up, etc. I think he'll work with you on any different type of programs, whether small classes, larger classes. 3 minutes? I'll hurry. Okay, but anyhow, I want to tell you also the good news. I just spoke with your Brett Bunker. He's head of your government physics departments. And last year I worked with him, and he was wonderful then, but because of scheduling, we just couldn't get it all going. But this year he tells me he's actually working with the librarians, and they think they would like to work it into their classes. So I do feel that we can go forward with him, and I do meet with him next Monday. He's out of town. He's also told me, if I talk too fast, slow me down, with Brett Bunker at a couple of the meetings that they've had at Region 20, the history meetings or whatever, and he likes him. He knows, as you'll see, I enclosed a picture. I think he's a very nice-looking young man. He's a dad of 2 young boys. He's not your typical professor, and some of us know, the Einstein look. But anyhow, he's wonderful. I think the kids have always been focused and learned and enjoyed him. And as we see, our kids really enjoy life here, I do believe. I think this would add to our program and the 250th year. I will work with him, and hopefully with your support, we can really get this going and add the academics to this year, plus all the fun that we know we're going to be having, and the history and the knowledge. Again, I want to say thank you to each one of you. I know how much dedicated time, passions, and things that you put into it for your students, but I want to say from the community, I've lived here 40 years, and all my friends are here. We've had students in this school, very successful, I felt like. Thank you for your passion, for your dedication, and all that you do. It goes out into the community. It goes lots further. So if there's anything that I can add to this, please call me. Your name is in your packets there. Or you can call Brandon Ford just leave a message and he gets back to you. If there's anything else, I think in the packet, this is mostly explains this particular presentation that they'll do. They'll do big groups, small groups. This booklet tells some of the other wonderful things that this Constitution of America does, like scholarships, etc. I particularly like the scholarships. I don't want to get into that, but it's where students can earn scholarships with musical presentations or debates or writing something like this. It doesn't have to be always, the written scholarship type.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all of our materials.
Thank you for
Yes.
all y'all do. Appreciate
Thank
it
you,
so
Elaine.
much.
Thank you, Elaine.
All right, 5, we have consider action, if any, regarding items discussed in closed session. I will request for approval of routine personnel items.
So moved.
Motion by Garrett Wilson,
Second.
second by Dallas Pipes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion by Christy Schmidt, motion by Carlin Fryer.
Second.
Second by Sarah Falkenberry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Up next, we have governance. Mr. Wilson, do you mind starting with our board member reports?
Sure. Yeah, we had another great finance meeting this last week. We discussed the Kendall County Building Addition, which we're going to discuss in detail later on. So I'll leave that one because we're going to hit it again. And then the single audit report, we discussed that. And Mr. Scott will probably give us more context on that. But basically, they added to the ACFR. We had the ACFR presented a month or two back, but because of the government shutdown, they came back and added in a little bit to that. There was no findings in that, so it was the same as the original ACFR. No change there. Mr. Ramiro Guerrero presented an update on the status of the 2022 bond projects, which was really good. It was amazing just to see how well the district has handled the construction on those projects in general. I think there was 31 somewhere in there projects that were undertaken and are still ongoing in the 2022 bond. And but for the most part, they've just gone incredibly well. And I think we're gonna have more information on that in an upcoming meeting, which will be really good. I was surprised at how well it went, the information that we saw. We also talked about hold harmless for the frozen levy impact. Mr. Scott presented this, that there's been some changes in how they're calculating the hold harmless from the comptroller during just this last year. And so we're working through that right now. Kind of hit us by surprise, as it did a lot of the districts. But they really changed the formula there. So we're working through it, and hopefully, we'll get some good news in next month or two, I guess. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, I have an update on the Facilities Committee meeting, which was held on February 12th. We got notification that VLK Architects are doing a defining expectations for a comprehensive district-wide facilities assessment, and all the campuses will be evaluated for condition, including roofs, kitchens, et cetera. And the input will include the maintenance staff, campus staff, along with, site visits. And the final product will be a living document that includes projected costs and lifespan for a lot of the features, so that over the next decade, 15 years, we can project out what we need for ongoing maintenance costs. We got an update on the Boerne Middle School South project, which I believe we'll see a presentation of in the next month or the month afterwards, regarding the changes and the updates we're going to be making to Middle School South. The BISD Agriculture Barn, it's currently operating at 70% capacity, serving both high schools, and the maintenance department is addressing several short-term needs. And the future focus areas include roofing, flooring, pens, electrical capacity, and storage. Work has been done on the Fair Oaks Ranch Elementary School fence. Repairs are underway. Slats are pending color approval for a color that goes in with the design of the campus. Installation will take a couple of weeks, and that'll basically shield the playground from the 3351. And Garrett mentioned we got an update at our finance committee meeting. Of the 32 projects, 31 came in under budget. Some were close, only a couple of thousand, but under is under, and that's a good thing. An example is our elementary school came in between $5 and $20 million less than nearby districts in Austin, San Antonio that built new elementary schools with similar capacities. So I think Ramiro and his team did a very, very good job with that. And the other thing they shared was our bond management costs came in significantly less than the normal district, to the tune of savings of millions of dollars. So job well done, Ramiro.
Great updates. I get to share with you guys the update from the Systems of Care Committee that took place on January 29th. So for some of you guys that don't know what the Systems of Care Committee is, or the Systems of Care is, in Boerne ISD, it delivers comprehensive, coordinated, and collaborative services to students and their families. Our focus this year is creating strategies and supports for bullying prevention and intervention. This is led by Krista Pomeroy. She's amazing, and Stephanie Bautista assists her as well, and they have a great team, Rachel Franco, and we're just very grateful for this committee and our district to take care of our students and our families. And what we discussed in the January meeting is we worked on developing supportive strategies for students who have been victims or witnesses to bullying, which can be equally traumatizing. Through collaborative discussion, members brainstormed and identified practical supports across the key areas, including the school and home environments, clear and compassionate communication, which is so important, peer connections, also so important, and confidence building. These strategies will be synthesized into a one-page, parent-friendly, quick reference document to support families in reinforcing students' well-being. So what we did is, with any committee that we have, the focus is always focused around the core values. And this meeting was no exception. We focus on every child, every day, respectful relationships, excellence through integrity, and commitment to service. So we talked about the 5 tenets to keep our district moving forward is healthy and safe, engaged, supported, and challenged. Connection is protection is our cry, our war cry. Just to make sure that families, campuses, that we have community resources and our BISD departments all collaborate to make sure our students feel connected and protected. We have external resources that are going up. Krista mentioned the Family U that Stephanie's working on, classes, webinars, bullying prevention strategies, web links, trying to think what else, family engagement versus family involvement, really just getting our families engaged and involved side by side. So we're very thankful for this in our district, and it's great work from Krista and her team. Always excited to present on this.
Thank you. Our PTO presidents met on February the 6th. Dr. Kraft was able to give district updates to all the campus leaders. We had 2 guest speakers, Ms. Moen from First Priority, Ms. Husted from the Fair Oaks Emergency Room, who joined every PTO in our district. Ms. Reyna gave us an update on the Boerne Education Foundation Rock On Gala that's coming up. And Ms. Pomeroy was at our PTO meeting, and all the PTO presidents got to tour the Karen Share Center and the College and Career Center, which is currently under construction, but super excited about having both of those additions to Boerne ISD. They're located in a pretty large portable here at central office. So really excited to kick those off. And our next meeting will be on the March the 20th.
Okay, my board report is on the School Health Advisory Council, which is SHAC. We met on February 3rd. We had 12 members in attendance, and this meeting was focused on reviewing proposed bills and policy guidance related to recess. The SHAC committee is currently working on developing standard recess recommendations for grades pre-K through 5 that address the daily requirements for unstructured play, allotted time, discipline practices, and scheduling considerations. The goal for this is to create clear, developmentally appropriate policy recommendations that promote student health and well-being while ensuring consistency across the campuses. These recommendations will be aligned with a model policy established by the Department of Health and Human Services to support best practices for elementary recess. So it was fun. We all got to share memories of some of our favorite memories from recess. So think back to when you were young and get to be a part of that. Also in our discussion, with the focus on it being health and nutrition, the SHAC, it also came around that regarding lunch periods across the district and collected information related to food choices, logistical challenges, time allotted to eat, and lunchtime procedures. The committee discussed how these factors impact students' well-being and identified the need for further data. Additional information will be collected from the campuses with the objective of increasing students' time to eat and improving the overall lunch experience. That was the SHAC, and then I'm also the liaison for the Bernie Education Foundation, and as Christy mentioned, they've been busy planning the upcoming Rock On, which will be March 28th, so be sure and get your tickets. It's a New York theme, and it's being held at the UTSA Ballroom, so be sure and get that on your calendar, and that's all I have to report.
Sarah, what's the recommended attire for this Rock On New York?
New York.
Blizzard.
Blizzard. Yeah. I'm not real sure. That's a great question. I don't know.
I heard they were having dual pianos.
Black and white cocktails.
Black
what they
and
wear
white
in New York.
cocktail. Thank you. Excited. Okay. Thanks, board, for your reports. Next, we have reports, and we'll start with Dr. Kraft on her superintendent district updates.
All right, thank you so much. And again, thank you for your service. I know you guys are out and about at all kinds of events, and we're moving into spring sports, so baseball, softball, soccer's wrapping up, but all the fun. Yes, playoffs and everything. So enrollment as of last week was 11,175. I know that number is important to y'all. We will have our demographers here next Monday for our March budget meeting. They'll be presenting their final report as we plan for next year. And as you know, communication with all of our partners is very important to me, and Ms. Schmidt and I meet with our PTO presidents each month. Early on in the year, they shared a challenge with us. They found out that an award that many of our students worked very hard to attain during high school, the Presidential Service Award, was being discontinued. And so we thought there has to be a way for us to capture all the great work that they're doing. And so the district leadership and PTOs from both Bernie and Champion came together to create an award called the Superintendent Volunteer Service Award, really aligned to our commitment to service, our core values. So we don't want to let an opportunity pass by without recognizing what's at the heart of our community, and that's service. So we're very excited about it. The applications have been out. We're pleased to announce that this new recognition begins with the class of 2026. Students are applying, they're submitting all their hours, really aligns to the program from the federal government that our students worked really hard to make sure they were submitting all of their hours for. So we're very proud that Bernie and Champion High Schools aligned on the criteria. So you'll start to see and hear more about the medals as they earn them. And you've also heard me say many times that people support what they help create. So we took this as an opportunity to get feedback from lots of groups. So not only our PTOs, we also went to student council, HOSA members. One of my student advisors is in the room here. We took this topic to my group of student advisors, our high school administrators and high school counselors, the advanced academics team, and the system of care team. And so it has been very well thought out, very planful, and we're excited to continue to honor our students for their commitment to service. And then looking ahead, the State of the District is Thursday, should be on your calendar, and we are very excited to share updates, great messages planned, and we're very thankful to Kim Blum, Executive Director of the Greater Bernie Chamber of Commerce, and the Fort of Bernie, and all the many other sponsors who helped to make that event so special. It's a packed house, as you know, and the highlight is really recognizing our Teachers of the Year and our support staff of the year. We're looking forward to celebrating them with their principals. And Coach Leach and I have been hosting our legacy lunches. So we do one a month, and Coach Leach sets the guest list for me. But we have lunch once a month with a small group of alumni. So it's wonderful to hear what growing up in Bernie meant to them, and many of them came back to raise their families here. So it's great to hear their stories about all the connections and what is a priority to them as parents. As I mentioned, our next budget workshop takes place on Monday. And again, the demographers will be here to walk through the report. I'll send you an advanced look at that so you have it in your inbox. And then today was really special because we had our Bernie Middle School North Jazz Band out at Tapatio. There is a Region 20 School Board Summit going on at Tapatio. A few of us were there yesterday doing a required training. But today at lunch, our middle school jazz band students were wowing the entire group because they're phenomenal students and a great jazz band. And it was a great opportunity to highlight all of the wonderful students in Bernie ISD. And, you know, just looking around the room, nobody could believe, and Donna Adamek helped to bring it all together. But everybody around the room was so surprised. These were 7th graders and 8th graders, because we all thought back to our own middle school experience in band. We didn't sound quite that good. So we're very excited and really proud of the work that's happening in all of our fine arts programs. So thanks to Donna Adamek for helping us pull it together. And that's my report.
Thank you, Dr. Kraft. All right, up next we have instruction report on career and technical education programs. I think Ms. Willis is here and some of our FFA students.
Good evening, Dr. Kraft, Board of Trustees. Thank you so much for hearing our annual Career and Technical Education, or CTE, report. Do not clicker. Got it. Okay, as always, and we've heard a lot about our core values tonight, and we always really try to abide by that in career and technical education as well. I think tonight we're really going to highlight every child every day, but as our students give you some updates on their programs, I think you'll see how much their programming really aligns with all of these core values. And of course, our district scorecard. CTE uses the district scorecard to guide our own strategic planning. It really determines the way we set goals and plan our program. This year, we really have looked at our purpose statement. We've strategically planned since I've been here since 2019, but it was important to us to have a purpose statement that was something that we could all vocalize. And the purpose of Bernie ISD CTE is to empower students through coherent programs of study and provide quality work-based learning experiences. We are building career-ready students. We want to provide work-based learning experiences so that when they leave us, they have a resume. They have evidence of skill attainment through some type of credential and a reference. CTE is building employability. CTE also has a large part of our student success goal. CTE has accountability metrics that analyze how students complete our programming. To be a CTE completer, a student should take and pass 3 or 4 CTE courses within a program of study that are worth at least 4 credits. Our goal this year as a program and as a department is that we will increase our number of student completers in CTE by 10%. That will mean 815 of our seniors will graduate with this status. It's CTE month, so this is a very timely report for us. We're very excited to be here on CTE month, and I'm excited to be able to present this report to you as we celebrate our students, our programs, and our staff and all that they are accomplishing. I also want to take a moment to salute you. It is also School Board Month, and I want to thank you for all the work you do for the district. This is the current status of CTE. This is inclusive of JROTC as of the last legislative session that is officially a part of CTE programming. We are very proud that we have 12 career clusters and 19 programs of study, which continue to be massive for a district our size. So we give students ample opportunities in lots of different areas. And we're very proud of the 682 external work-based placements that we have for this year. That has gone up tremendously over the last 6 years, and we're very proud of that accomplishment at CTE. So as I just told you, our Air Force Junior ROTC is now officially a part of CTE, and that was as of this last legislative session. TEA has classified them in our Law and Public Service career cluster. That will be the first program of study that we have in that career cluster, so it's also a huge milestone for us in the department. All of our programs of study, as you all know, have a credential aligned with them. For JROTC, TEA has not aligned an official credential as of yet. But what we are seeing as we're looking at accountability and the refresh that's coming for A through F accountability is that the ASVAB is going to be the important component as far as credentialing that aligns with JROTC. Just so you know. And of course, we want to salute our community partnership. We want to thank our community partners. They are what make work-based learning for our students possible. And we will hold the second installment of CTE Advisory in March. We did one in October for the fall, where we will hear our current feedback from our partners, which informs us on adjustments and improvements that we make in programming. This is our current cluster report, which shows you enrollment in the different career clusters. You can see Ag and Health Science remain our largest career clusters, followed by business, which includes accounting, entrepreneurship, and real estate programs of study. CTE is also a large component of CCMR, and you can see our P-TECH model. CTE programming is the courses and the teachers that crosswalk for P-TECH programming and dual credit coursework for industry certifications. So all of this is leading to some type of credential attainment, whether it be an industry certification or a level certificate through our institutions of higher ed, or possibly an associate's degree. Of course, you know that we have P-TECH programming, which includes cybersecurity, which falls under our information technology cluster, and of course, health science. Both programs are high demand, high wage, according to our local workforce data. These are our most recent numbers of industry-based certifications. You can see we are celebrating not only our increase in CCMR, but specifically our increase in credential attainment for our students. Bernie ISD had a 19% increase in student industry certification attainment, providing more post-secondary employment opportunities through this evidence of skill attainment. This next graph shows you an overview of those IBC attainments by program area. We're proud of our attainment percentages. We're currently at a rate of 82% attainment for all industry-based certifications. Not all of our certifications count towards A through F accountability, which counts towards CCMR, but we continue to look at industry certifications as a route towards employability. And the certifications we give outside of accountability are shown to be necessary in our region, like food handler certification in culinary, or CPR in human services and health science. CCMR is intended to measure the extent to which graduates are prepared to succeed in post-secondary pathways. As the state prepares for the refresh in accountability, we do not have a final determination yet from TEA, but the way that CCMR indicators are weighted are changing. We won't have an exact picture of that until later this year, but we do know that student industry certifications will become weighted into tiers. The state released the new list of certifications that will count towards CCMR accountability with these assigned tiers. Although we don't exactly know what it will mean in terms of accountability, the data in terms of what we currently offer is here on this slide. We are sitting down currently with our teachers to evaluate what is on the new list, how the state deems the weight, and what industry feedback is in terms of employability. And then we are looking at all certifications to determine what is appropriate for our students in that specific program to make sure that they're employable and have the best chance of the highest wage career. These are our official CTSOs, or Career and Technical Student Organizations, that are officially recognized by CTE. These organizations are classroom extensions and work-based learning for our students. We value the work our students do in advocating for their career interest area and student organizations, as well as the work our teachers do towards these valuable experiences. These organizations truly build the essential skills that our industry partners tell us are so valuable. I am truly excited tonight that you will be hearing from one of those organizations as we continue to spotlight CTE this month. We have representatives from both Bernie High School and Champion High School with us tonight that would like to introduce themselves to you and their program to you. But first, what questions do you have for me?
Good.
I would just like to compliment you and the people that you work with on that work-based placements and working with our community partners. I just really want to commend you of all the hard work y'all have done to increase those numbers. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Falkenberg.
Yeah, great presentation. It's very encouraging to see that our number of participants out in the community keep going up. And you said it's like 682, and that's just in those students are all in Kendall County, just spread out throughout different partners in business.
Maybe a few on the edge of Bear, just right there at the rim.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Again, percentages, that you talked about are going up. I like to hear that the credential attainment went up 19%, so that's encouraging, and I see that continuing to rise with all that you've stated. Can you explain to me what the acronym is, the ASVAB? Because I was understanding, if I'm not incorrect, the junior ROTC the TEA is not aligned to credential to that at the moment.
Right. So when you pull up programs of study, it'll normally have whatever credentials that are your options for alignment. So they haven't officially released that it's going to be the ASVAB, but what we're seeing, what we're projecting is that it will be with a certain score. I don't remember exactly what the acronym stands for, but it's basically a career aptitude test. So it's actually really great for all kids. And so what we're going to do is utilize our JROTC instructors, and they're so fabulous, and really talk to them about why that's important for kids and just try to engage all of those JROTC students in that.
Okay, thank you.
Heather, a few questions. You mentioned that for a district our size, the number of clusters we have 12, and I think programs of study 19. That's large. Is there a typical number for a district our size?
The federal government gives some recommendations. For our size, they say that we need to have a minimum of 5.
And we have 12. Okay. And the other question was, I know this is the second year of P-Tech at Bernie High School with health careers. Is it the third year or is it the fourth year at Champion for cyber?
It's the 4th year. We have seniors that will graduate this year with their associate's degrees.
Great, that's fantastic. And we have approximately how many freshmen in between the two programs?
Between the two?
Yeah.
I think their list of recruits right now are up to about, it's between 40 and 50 in cyber. And we're right at about 170-ish in health science.
So over 200 kids when they graduate from high school will have an associate's degree.
Well, we sure hope so.
Okay. And then
they get the opportunity. That's
they get the
important.
opportunity. And maybe this is a Wes question, I'm not sure. You mentioned the weights are going to change for some of the CTE classes. Will that affect funding for next year, the year after? Do we know when it'll affect?
We don't anticipate it impacting funding as much as it's going to impact accountability. I will say that funding-wise, adding JROTC is wonderful because they are now included in those weighted funding numbers.
It's huge. Thank you. Great job.
I have a question for you. Well, several comments. I don't like to have a favorite because they're all so good, but I did get to enjoy the culinary program at Bernie on Friday, and the way through my heart is through my stomach. And they are amazing. So the floral program, I see that they have amazing success rate there. Do we know how many students are in the floral program? Because I saw it was at 202 certifications there, and I'm like, that's impressive.
Well, I have one of those teachers with me tonight who's
Great.
very dedicated to that program in her enterprise learning lab. I will say I don't know exact enrollment numbers right now on just
fine.
floral design, but I know at Bernie High School it's about 6 sections.
Okay.
And you can kind of do the math, about 25 to 30 students a section. Ms. Manning, how many sections do you have? Floral. So sizable.
Yeah, I
amount
mean,
of students.
the amount of students that are actually getting certification seems overwhelming. So thank you so much for that. And answering your ASVAB score, as long as all of them make the ASVAB score to get in the Air Force, that's success. Anything else is lower.
I want to speak to the floral department really quick. I actually paid for a subscription, and it's through Champion, and I get to pick up an arrangement every month. And they are beautiful flowers, and I don't know what they put in them, but they lasted a long time through December. I had several parties, and they were beautiful, but I'm sure that's on the website if anybody's interested in signing up for that subscription. It's been the gift that keeps on giving through the year, so.
And a shout out to the culinary students. Yvette knows this, Dr. Kraft knows this. I donate these 5-course dinners, and I'm the chef. And every time a culinary kid comes, they improve the process, the presentation is better because of them. I learn a lot from them, which is really, really cool.
I think you're going to learn a lot more than 60 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Willis, for the introduction. Good evening, esteemed school board members. My name is Jolie Olson, and I'm here representing Bernie Champion. Joining me today are 3 others.
Hi, my name is Cooper Thompson, and I'm representing the Bernie FFA chapter.
Howdy, I'm Sam Meglazano. I'm also representing the Bernie FFA chapter.
And I'm Penny Weldon, representing the Bernie Champion FFA chapter. Today we want to tell y'all why we are passionate about it. The name of our organization originated as the Future Farmers of America, but to encompass the diverse group of individuals as well as our opportunities, we are now the National FFA organization. We are still rooted in agriculture, but FFA members learn so much more. This week is National FFA Week, a time when we invite others to take a closer look at the organization that has shaped us all into the individuals we are today. The mission of FFA is to make a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, career success through agricultural education. We are able to accomplish this by living out the FFA motto in our everyday lives, which is learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, and living to serve.
Tonight, we hope to illustrate the vast opportunities that the FFA gives the students at Bernie ISD. So let's start with learning to do. So myself, growing up in the suburbs of Bernie, Texas, I'm not what you might consider a traditional ag kid. But that did not mean that there's not a spot for me within the FFA. As a freshman, much of the material I was learning was very foreign to me. In my freshman ag class, I spent time preparing and conducting presentations over different ag topics in front of my classmates. That planted the seed for my further public speaking adventures. Since then, I have competed in public relations, which is an LDE, or Leadership Development event. The event consists of a group of 4 giving a presentation to a group of adults about FFA and answering questions after, just as we are doing tonight. Both my freshman and sophomore year, my team finished top 10 in our area. I'm currently competing in agricultural sales, which is a CDE, a career development event. For the past 3 years, I have been a member of Bernie's state qualifying agricultural sales team. This event includes a sales meeting where a group of 4, team of 4, discusses sales strategies customized to different prospects while being watched by judges. It also includes a one-on-one sales call where I'm tasked with guiding a judge acting as one of those prospects through the sales process starting from the first impression, ending with the close of the sale. In Bernie ISD, we are very fortunate to have many parents and community members help us practice the skills necessary to be successful in each event, and we could not be successful without their mentorship. Although very interesting, the most impactful information I have learned from FFA is not about the plants or the animals or the building. It's the intangible skills. Through my participation in the FFA, I have learned the ins and outs of effective communication and public speaking. This includes starting and holding a conversation in a professional manner, effectively presenting to groups of people, and delivering my point of view in a way that is confident and direct while maintaining respect for others. I've also gained the valuable experience of working with many different types of people, and I've grown tremendously in both my critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. Even though this type of real-world education is often absent in the traditional classroom, what I've learned will be beneficial for all students to be found in the FFA.
Next is doing to learn, and by doing, leadership and career contest, it allows us to travel all over the state of Texas, over 20,000 miles between there are two chapters, and visit universities where we will compete against schools all across the state as well. Our teams have received numerous awards and qualified for the state level competitions year after year. At each contest, we practice critical thinking, problem solving, and leadership skills that we've gained through these experiences. I also use them while currently serving as the vice president of our Hill District FFA officer team. This position is elected by my peers from schools all over the Hill Country. FFA gave me the confidence to take advantage of this opportunity, and because of it, I've learned leadership skills that I've developed through my FFA career. In addition to skills learned through our competitions, students can be involved with an SAE. An SAE is a supervised agricultural experience, which allows students to practice skills like time management, responsibility, and dedication. The most popular SAE is an animal project, which puts the responsibility of another living thing on the students. In Bernie ISD, we're extremely blessed to have a district barn facility that we use to raise large livestock like sheep, goats, and pigs. Animal projects are not the only way a student can participate in SAEs. Projects like building a metal or wood project, shadowing professionals like veterinarians, or starting their own landscaping business is also popular in our community. My personal favorite SAEs are any ones where I get a weld. This allows me to learn while doing and assisting with creating a 33-foot gooseneck trailer, a 12-foot high deer stand, and a barbecue smoker. We're able to create these projects with the help of our advisors and our classmates in class. Then we can show our projects, and they're also eligible to earn money and scholarships, which will support our future education.
As Simon mentioned, SAEs are a great way that students can learn by doing. These projects also allow us to earn funds that teaches earning to live. SAEs require students to invest significant time, effort, money, and passion into their projects. Their dedication is recognized through events like the Kendall County Junior Livestock Sale. I have been fortunate enough to participate in the sale for the past 2 years. Just this year, I showed 2 goats and earned Grand Champion Breeding Show and placed in the top 10 with my market weather. In return, I received $2,000, which I plan to invest into my projects for next year. Another example of earning are the scholarships from both National and Texas FFA, as well as stock shows, especially the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo, as well as the Wild Game Dinner, which also provides scholarships to the community. These experiences not only offer financial support, but also help students to develop and build skills that benefit their future careers. Beyond project-based learning, FFA also offers opportunities during the school day through school-based enterprises and agricultural practices. Both FFA programs in Bernie operate floral shops as part of a school-based enterprise that is self-funded, allowing students to have real-world experiences within the walls of our classrooms. Agricultural practicums are double-blocked classes where students can participate in by working or interning at a job site related to the pathway. For an ag student, this might look like working or interning at a veterinary clinic, grooming facility, welding shop, or floral shop. Personally, I hope to work at a veterinary clinic so that I can develop and build skills that I need for my future adult. These practices not only allow students to earn money while they work, but also to help them build valuable job skills, earn certifications, and transition smoothly into the workforce. While FFA certainly helps students to develop career-ready skills, its impact goes far beyond that. It provides meaningful experiences and long-lasting connections that can help with future job opportunities. It has also helped me grow personally. FFA has shaped who I am today and will continue to inspire who I will become in the future. It truly is a community where passion and knowledge are passed down to the next generations of our community. The final part of the motto is living to serve. The community of Boerne's support and cooperation is very important to FFA, just as FFA is important to the community. Serving in events such as Barn Days for Boerne ISD kindergarten students, school tours at San Antonio Livestock Show and Rodeo, and Farm Bureau Day are where we work to help educate the younger generation of our community about topics not normally discussed in the everyday classroom. During these events, we show them animals that they may have otherwise never seen in real life. And as officers, we're the group leaders. And I love seeing kids in this environment where they are amazed at the feel, size, and ability of these animals. Answering their questions and bonding with them over stories of how my grandpa has a cow are not only entertaining but eye-opening to what these kids need to learn about. Some other organizations, not just at school, rely on FFA members to volunteer. One of these organizations is Show Partner, which is an organization that pairs a special needs student with a seasoned showman that helps them learn and to take care of the animal and show at the show. I am one of those volunteers. My show partner's name was Olivia, and together we showed a goat named Carly. It was amazing to see Olivia have that bond and experience with me. And I learned so much about planning, working, scheduling, and going through the process with her. Chapters also volunteers groups for community service events. We will collect toys and distribute to them to those in need in our community through Kendall County Blue Santa. And we also were asked last year to help with Wreaths of Honor, where we prepared wreaths to place on service members' gravestones. As you can see, FFA is more than just a career pathway. It is an organization that gives back to the community, and it has taught me so much about the impact one person can make on their community and on others.
We hope that we have given you a vivid picture of what the FFA means to the students of Boerne ISD. With over 7,000 outside of school hours invested, it takes support from parents, teachers, administrators, community members, and you all as the school board to help us live out our mission and motto each day. Agriculture education and the FFA is the largest cluster of students within Boerne ISD's career and technical education category, with over 937 students. With your continued support, we are prepared to grow this cluster one student at a time. Thank you. All right, any questions?
I feel like y'all need to take a bow or something. Like y'all's soft skills and the way you present, I am like blown away. I want to give you each a trophy. You pulled on all my heartstrings, and I know two of you personally. I bought a turkey from you. It's the biggest turkey I've ever seen. I cannot wait to consume the turkey. It's in our freezer. He still has a few available, but there's more. I'm so inspired by all four of you. I see your hearts just in what you've communicated with us tonight. I love to hear about your successes. We've heard about the awards that you've accumulated along the way. We know that you've traveled many, many miles, and we know that you've got parents that support you, and you have great teachers that support you, and it just speaks to the quality of students that you are, and that you have inspired your community to believe in you. The show partners, that'll cause anyone to tear up, and it's really sweet to see the collaboration. And I believe that you helped those students come alive. And I know Olivia, and I'm sure that meant the world to her for you to walk alongside her. I also want to speak to The barbecue smoker, I mean, was that pretty epic? The deer stand, the trailer. I mean, you guys get to do this and make money while you're doing what you love. It's impressive to see what you guys can create. But what you've created tonight was just my commitment to support you. And I know that you've inspired all of us on the board and in our community. So thank you so much for your presentation tonight.
Really, guys.
There's no way I can top that, but all I will say is I'm in awe. I'm in awe. I thoroughly enjoy going to the auction every year and seeing kids that I knew when they were in first and second grade at Currington, Fabra, the other schools, grow into middle schoolers and high schoolers that are now showing animals. And, the responsibility it teaches, the work ethic it teaches, the responsibility, the commitment, the discipline, these are characteristics that will help you throughout your life to be very successful adults. And I'm just so proud of our community that we've got this kind of educational program. We have the teachers, the parents, because the parents have to do a lot of supporting in this, and our students. I'm just so proud, and I think it's one of the things that makes our community a great community. So thank you for being leaders on your campuses. It's outstanding.
I kind of echo exactly what y'all said. We get asked a lot whenever we're around, what's the secret sauce in Bernie? Why is there so much success? And I think we're all looking at it. The heart that y'all have, y'all represent the community in such an amazing way that you set the bar. So I appreciate that. And I love seeing blue jackets. I grew up in a town where blue jackets were outnumbered Letterman's jackets all day long, and I love it. So I do have some questions, though, Miss Penny. Am I going to see a president, vice president? What role are you going to have moving forward? I see that you had wanted to be a large vet tech. You get into large vet, and I'm excited to see females getting into large vets. I think that's amazing, and I'm excited to see you do that.
Yes, sir. So I'm currently a committee member on our champion FFA team, but I hope that I can fall into a higher position within the next coming years. I'm especially excited for this next year, and I believe that the applications come out next month, I believe.
Yeah.
And yes, I do want to become a avid member of the cattle industry and provide food for, Texas. And mostly I want to be a local farmer because I believe that local is better.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. And Cooper, I think I'll be on a phone call with you in a couple weeks, it sounds like. So I'm just so excited to see what y'all do and to see how y'all represent this community. I'm so very proud of y'all.
I think Mr. Pipes is referring that him and myself are judges for your sales pitch on Thursday. So I look forward to hopefully seeing some of y'all. What are some of the things, just for people that don't know about that event, what are some of the types of things that you sell at that competition?
Sure, yeah. To start off, I would say the product gets more and more complex each year. Because the reality is, within these classes, we are learning all about how advanced and how, to the point, ag has to be. I mean, the world's growing, so food needs to grow too. For the 3 years I've been in it, first year I sold, last year, I can remember last year's. Last year was hydroponics, which is basically, think a soil bucket without the soil. And so what's replaced with the soil is just water. But the water is running constantly, and what's running within the water constantly is nutrients. So really what it was, a lot of the times, was selling to farmers or other people that were currently using soil and water setups and trying to sell them these hydroponics, which is a fascinating product. This year we're selling something called an Infinity. N stands for nitrogen. Basically, it's a nitrogen supplement. It's not nitrogen itself, but basically it's a supplement that forces or allows the nitrogen particles or the nitrogen parts of the plant that's sucking the nitrogen that's essential for the plant. It basically expands the axis of the nitrogen because there's lots of nitrogen in the atmosphere, in the soil, and in microorganisms all around the dirt. But the problem is plants are limited in the way they can access. So basically, Infinity acts like a door, a key, kind of like a bank to like the available nitrogen, which is super cool. And then freshman year,
It's okay. Poultry watering systems.
Was that not hydroponic? Oh, that was last year. Freshman year was hydroponics. Yeah, last year was chicken waterers. So I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think what made it different than like normal.
I think they included some medicine so they could
Yeah,
get their
yeah,
medicine.
yeah. It was basically just super high tech. Instead of chickens drinking out of buckets, basically.
Yeah,
Just
fresh.
out of
Yeah,
nipples, which is
fresh.
very efficient. I recommend for your farm if anyone has them. I can sell them to you. So yeah, those are the products.
I think we're all connected to the ag program in some form or fashion, and we can talk to you guys all night. And we just appreciate you and you're great presenters. So we wish you the best.
Yeah.
And I want a turkey.
Thank you. Up next, we have progress monitoring report, middle of year data with Ms. Flores.
I should have gone first. Our future is definitely bright. Good evening. Tonight I'm bringing to you the results from our middle of year testing for all universal screeners. All that I will be reporting out to you falls directly with our scorecard under student success and talent. House Bill 3 requires a common approach to diagnostics, and TA has identified tools for districts to use to meet these requirements. For pre-K, we use Circle, and for grades K through 2, we use M-Class by Amplify. Our full-day pre-K program assesses student progress in 5 key areas: language and communication, reading, writing, mathematics, and health and wellness. Assessments are conducted at the beginning, middle, and end of year. At the middle of the year, we are seeing growth in expected areas such as reading and language, as letter knowledge is an abstract concept that depends on explicit instruction, memorization, and repeated exposure to print. Whereas writing, math, and health and wellness skills are assessed through observable behaviors such as forming letters, counting, identifying shapes, following routines, and demonstrating social emotional skills. These assessments guide teachers in targeted instruction to build strong literacy skills. In our 3 Spanish pre-K classrooms, now this is a total of only 25 students across the district, we did see some great gains in the reading domain, as we did in English pre-K, particularly with letter knowledge. But you will notice a dip in health and wellness, and we believe this is attributed to the actual rubric of the assessment for this indicator. The beginning of year expectation for health and wellness is actually very, very low, as far as to be considered on track. But for the middle of the year, the expectations for the students triple. And so we have spoken with the teachers that work with these students, and they assure us that the students are making growth, just not at the levels of the expected, at the rubric level. And so teacher observations tell us that students are on track to make the appropriate gains by the end of the year. In accordance with TA guidelines, Bernie ISD administers the state-adopted literacy assessment M-Class Dibbles for grades K through 2 to measure reading development and comprehension at the beginning, middle, and end of the year. The assessment evaluates several areas: phonemic awareness, phonics, word reading, fluency, and for our second graders, comprehension. While phonemic awareness is primarily oral and auditory, phonics instruction involves both visual and auditory components. So the following chart illustrates our district middle of year results for kinder through second grade, and we did see increases from the beginning of year in all the grade levels. I've also included 2025 middle of year cohort data so that you can see the comparison. Kindergarten is 71% at or above benchmark. First grade is 65% at or above benchmark, and second grade is currently at 74% at or above benchmark. Students who score at or above benchmark are considered on track for grade level reading success. These students demonstrate the foundational literacy skills expected for their grade and are less likely to require intensive intervention. For those students not at benchmark yet, teachers continue to focus on providing enrichment, practice, and opportunities to deepen their comprehension and fluency. MAP is a nationally normed and independently verified screener for math. It is an assessment tool that helps us make data-informed decisions on student progress. All K through 5 students are screened 3 times a year, and these graphs illustrate grades K through 2. We are pleased to see the increase in percentages from beginning of year, and the current percentages are above those from last year's cohort as well. So this is very promising. As part of our district scorecard goals, we have established a target of early childhood proficiency. By combining reading and math screener results for kinder through second, we gain a clear snapshot of early academic readiness. And so our district goal for the end of year is 83% of our students to be at or above benchmark. Currently at the middle of the year, we are at 77%. And so this is a 7 percentage point gain from the beginning of the year. We're currently on track to meet our end of year goal. Now for grades 3 through 5. AMIRA is an early reading assessment that provides data in 5 key reading areas: phonemic awareness, alphabetic knowledge, vocabulary, comprehension, and fluency. This chart shows our middle of year data for grades 3 through 5. These results allow campuses and teachers to organize resources and target instruction for students based on their specific needs. For the middle of year performance, we are showing steady results in grades 3 through 5. At or above benchmark, students are meeting or exceeding grade level expectations, typically in the top 40%. For math, by the middle of year assessment, we often see a drop in scores, but this year we're showing growth from beginning of year and from last year's cohort as well. And so this is very encouraging as the at benchmark level equates to the approaches grade level on the SAR assessment. So these results provide a more comprehensive picture of grade level mastery and helps teachers target instruction to address gaps and accelerate learning. MAP is a nationally normed test. Like MAP growth, 50% represents average performance. So MAP is administered to over 11 million U.S. students annually, and students scoring above the 50th percentile are performing above the national average. I'm very proud to say that in BISD elementary grades K through 5, we are above the national average in mathematics growth. Currently, BISD exceeds expectations in every grade level. We are much higher this middle of year than last year, with our second graders showing the biggest gains. So in summary, our work this year is guided by our core values. Data guides support for each student. Collaboration drives shared progress, and transparent results ensure accountability. And above all, data informs our decisions, helping us serve every student with purpose. These values keep us focused on what matters most, and that's student growth and success for all. Now, and I'll take any questions.
Larissa, I've got NWEA. What does that stand for? Is that a math thing?
Yes.
It's
the
math.
acronym for the.
Okay, that's fine, math.
I do know what ASVAB is, the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, but that was the.
So
I was able to find that one. Sorry.
Okay, so if I'm reading this correctly, in the second graders this year, 88% are at above benchmark, and last year was 75. So, like math, I'm seeing like there were modest gains in literacy, which is great, but math is going through the roof. What's going on?
So we are in year 3 of it used to be Eureka math.
That's Bluebonnet.
And now it's Bluebonnet math. And I think through time, training, teachers have become more comfortable with that curriculum, and it's becoming more of we're seeing some benefits. It's still going to be slow to see the full benefits of the new way that the concepts are laid out for our students. But I think we will see in the next few years some really good.
That's good. And these benchmarks, when they say at the middle of the year, 77% are at or above, is that testing where they are expected to be at the end of the year, or where they're expected to be at the middle of the year?
Each assessment is different, and for each grade level, the indicators and expectations are different, so it varies.
Okay, because if somebody is being graded on where they're expected to be at the end of the year, but that number should go quite a bit higher. I would
Right,
think.
so usually, like, for example, in first grade, middle of year, we don't see as many gains, but because they haven't been taught the complete curriculum yet. And so at the end of the year, that's when we usually see a huge increase.
Okay, thanks.
We hope to.
Ms. Flores, just a couple of comments, really. Great presentation. You know, and I think back 11 years ago when I joined the board, there was none of this data. And to be able to see the progress that our students make year after year now, and even within the year beginning to the end of the year, really shows the dedication of you leading our campuses and our educators that are closest to the students and making sure that we're focusing on what needs to be focused on. And so it's just amazing to me to see the data that we didn't have access to before, and commend you for leading the effort of progress.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And it is a true team effort.
You know, I'm gonna back up what Carlin said, because if you want to expect excellence, you got to measure it, right? If you don't measure it, how do you know how you're doing? So.
This is how we get students like this.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Great
Thank you so
presentation.
much.
Next, we have Talent Strategic Plan Update, Ms. Rhodes Pruin.
Good evening, Board President, Trustees, Dr. Kraft. Tonight I'll be sharing updates related to Strategic Plan Goal Number 2 for talent. As you know, our goal is to ensure that 100% of the Bernie ISD employee experience is focused on providing high-quality opportunities that empower staff to perform at their best and continuously aspire to the highest levels of professional growth and excellence. Today, I'm excited to highlight the accomplishments of our human resources team in staffing, recruitment, and talent retention, as well as a cross-departmental collaboration aimed at developing leadership capacity. So let's start with the Preparing and Retaining Educators Through Partnership Allotment, also known as PREP. The PREP allotment was established by House Bill 2 in 2025 and provides funding to school districts to improve educator effectiveness, retention, and preparation through high-quality partnerships. Bernie ISD applied for and received approval for the PREP allotment in 2 strategic areas: the paid teacher residency and the Grow Your Own initiative. The paid teacher residency will establish a year-long paid residency for up to 10 clinical teachers teaching interns with a targeted focus on bilingual and special education. This initiative is designed to strengthen high-need teaching areas while providing hands-on, high-quality preparation for future educators. The Grow Your Own initiative will offer tuition reimbursement for up to 40 current employees who are pursuing education degrees leading to teacher certification by investing in existing staff members. The district aims to cultivate homegrown talent and build a strong, committed educator workforce. Participants in both programs will commit to teaching in Bernie ISD for a minimum of 3 years upon completion, ensuring a sustainable pipeline of well-prepared teachers and supporting long-term retention across the district. So as part of the paid teacher residency, each candidate will be paired with a qualified cooperating host teacher who meets SBEC requirements and has received training to effectively mentor and support a resident throughout the year. The residency spans a full academic year where our residents are actually on campus from the first to the last day of the school year, which is not like our traditional clinical teaching experiences. They are required to complete a minimum of 750 hours of clinical experience, and they must average a minimum of 21 hours per week. Residents must be hired as at-will employees as part of this program during their participation, and in alignment with expectations, residency candidates are required to actively engage in co-teaching and assume leadership instructional roles for at least 400 hours. So it is quite intensive with the goal of having folks come out of this program ready to step right into teaching. In the Prep Grow Your Own program, the district will create clear, supported pathways into the teaching profession. To support employees, the district will partner with institutes of higher education and or educator preparation programs. The goal here is to enroll participants or paraprofessionals or other eligible employees in bachelor's degree programs. And then participants are required to complete their program of study within 3 years so that they can enroll into an alternative certification program to get their certification within that 4th year. While completing their degree, participants will receive structured on-the-job training. This is a requirement of this program in that they will receive release time to go out and work with teachers in the area that they choose to get certified within. And then the other component of this that we're really excited about is the High School Education and Training CTE pathway. So we already have this pathway, but this pathway will provide early training and education practice opportunities to cultivate interest and develop future educators from within the community. So the great thing about the prep component in this piece is that it will provide funding for us to help grow our current CTE program. With the prep allotment, funds will flow directly to the school district from TEA, and so we can use that for tuition reimbursement or costs associated with implementing the program. As previously mentioned, the Prep Grow Your Own program supports the district's current CTE education and training pathway. And so wanted to give you an update because there are some pretty remarkable things going on in this program. So as reflected in the chart, enrollment in the education and training pathway, you can see held steady at 16 students in the previous 2 years and has grown to 36 students this year. This increase of 20 students represents 125% growth since 2023-24, demonstrating significant momentum and raising interest in the teaching profession among our own students. Wanted to share some great pictures with you of this program. That center picture is that group of 36 students in the current cohort, along with some great pictures that celebrate our future educators. One of the innovative pieces that we implemented last year was to create a letter of intent signing ceremony. So in the 24-25 school year, Bernie ISD proudly recognized 6 graduating seniors, and this year we'll be honoring an additional 6 graduating seniors. So to celebrate those students' commitment and encouragement for them to return back to serve our community, the district established the letter of intent signing ceremony, and the event recognizes the accomplishments of our students who are in the education and training pathway and guarantees them a student teaching placement as well as a job back at Bernie ISD as a teacher when they complete their degree requirements and certification requirements. So the teacher incentive allotment is a Texas Education Agency initiative that was created to retain, reward, and recruit highly effective educators. And so this system does allow districts to create a district-developed local designation system. So I wanted to share with you where we are in our progress educating our own employees and working toward the teacher incentive allotment. So during the fall of 2025, all campus staff participated in TIA stakeholder engagement activities with a total of 514 surveys completed. And the feedback provided valuable insight into staff perspectives and priorities regarding performance-based compensation. So you'll notice here that that we are planning to move forward with the creation of a TIA committee. And so that TIA committee will begin meeting this spring. We will have a minimum of 28 teachers with 2 representatives from each campus, at least 1 campus administrator from each grade span, and then at least 2 or 3 teaching and learning instructional staff members. And so we'll begin meeting this spring to really start to examine implementation considerations, review the feedback that came from our teachers and other instructional staff, and then ultimately recommend whether the district will move forward with a plan to implement EIA.
And I know that's on kind of a phasing scale. What phase would you say we're in the process?
We are really in kind of phase one, right? We
Okay.
just did all of the meetings last semester. The actual application process is probably a 6 to 12-month process to really identify what content areas the district wants to move forward, whether it's going to do a phased-in approach or a full approach all at one time. And so as we begin in the spring semester with this committee, we will start, we'll have this committee start to meet to really understand all of the data that we have. So with that 514 surveys, as you can imagine, there was a lot of feedback we received, and so we'll start to dig through that and really understand what are the benefits, what are some of the barriers, and then allow our employees to help us with that decision. From my prior experience with PIA, the state says you really want to have at least about 70 to 80% of your teachers that support the initiative before embarking on that. We're not quite there yet, so we have some work.
Thank you.
So the Aspiring Leaders, during the September talent presentation, I shared the launch of the Aspiring Leaders Academy, which is a collaboration among multiple departments. And the initiative is designed to prepare future administrators and instructional leaders. And tonight I'm pleased to share an update on that process. So the Aspiring Leaders program currently has 16 participants who are actively engaged in a robust leadership development program featuring hands-on learning. And this year, participants have engaged or will engage in a variety of targeted activities, including exploring leadership attributes, learning from colleagues, and leading professional development sessions. Each participant will also have the opportunity to shadow a BISD leader and gain practical insights while preparing for interviewing for potential leadership roles within the district. And this comprehensive approach equips our emerging leaders with the skills and experience and confidence needed to step into key leadership positions in the district. So at this time, I'll take any questions.
I'm really, really excited about the expiring leadership. I'm glad that y'all moved forward with that, and I know that was an issue we kind of discussed previously in previous years, and I love that that we have people involved in that, and thank you for that. Thank you for all your work. In the last year, you've been a very, very busy person in the district, so thank you so much for that. I do have one question, though, going back to the requirements for I believe it was the people getting into it. You had one of them was at will, and I'm like, that just struck me as like, that's kind of an odd one to have.
Right. So typically, folks who are doing their clinical teaching are not paid employees of the district.
Mhm.
And because our clinical teachers would not be certified, they are not eligible for a Chapter 21 contract, which is all of our certified staff, teachers, librarians, counselors, all of those folks. And so anybody else that is an hourly employee is considered an at-will employee. And so when the T-class grant started, which was the original precursor for the teacher residency programs, school districts were not required to have student teachers be at-will employees. They could be put in as temporary employees, or they could be paid on almost like a contract level. And so the state has really wanted to provide that status, so they have a few more rights in terms of like benefits.
Yeah, I appreciate all the different initiatives to encourage growth in the profession. We all know that nationwide, statewide, there's shortages of qualified teachers. We're lucky we have a very good teaching staff, but we have to continue to build that, so thank you for that. A little follow-up to Christy's question about the phases with the TIA. We're in phase 1 right now. How many phases are there? 3, 4, 5?
So really, you have your kind of your phase 1, which is just the exploration. Phase 2 is really the development of the application. And so the plan would be that we begin meeting with our committee members this semester and then also meet with them again in the fall and make a decision by December about what we would like to submit in terms of an application. So whether that includes specific content areas or grade levels, that would be really your phase 2. Once your application is submitted, that gets submitted in April each year, and then TEA provides a determination about whether your application is going to be approved by June. And then once your application is approved, that's when you really kind of jump into that phase 3 and start your data collection year. And so then there's a lot of education for employees who are going to be part of the group that is, if we decide to do a phased-in approach, right, and we have certain grade level or content area, then there would be a lot of education for those teachers to help them get ready in that beginning of that phase. And then once you're in it, we start to bring in all of the other content areas and grade level, then we're considered fully implemented.
I have a quick question on there. Actually, a couple of questions on the prep allotment. So it'll provide paid teacher residency for up to 10, and then on the grow your own up to 40. Is that a state defined number?
So the state actually allows you to do up to 40 in both. With the paid teacher residency, the requirement is that the district pay for half the cost. So each teacher resident is required to have a salary of a minimum of $20,000. And so that would mean the district would be required to pay 10 of that. And we did not want to overcommit. And so we put in an application for 10. We can go up to 10. We could have one. And it really depends on in terms of our budget process, what we decide as a district we can afford to do. And then also really thinking about do the partners that we are engaging with have staff in those areas? A lot of the staff we met at the UTSA event a couple of weeks ago were not in those high need areas. They were more general. And so we're really focusing. We don't have as much difficulty staffing our regular classrooms. Where we struggle, just like every other district in the state, is in dual language and special education. So those are our focus areas.
Do you expect those numbers to slide or shift higher as this continues, or have those been stagnant since the program started?
Which numbers?
The 10 and 40.
The prep allotment, this is the first time we've had a prep allotment. So prior to prep, there was a T class, and it was actually a grant, and you had to be approved through the grant process. With the prep allotment, the difference is if a district applies and they're engaged with a highly qualified partner, then the money is available to the district.
Okay. Next question is on the training pathway, the BISD education training pathway. Great success in growing at 16 to 36. What happened? How do we do that?
So that is all attributed to our CTE department and the teacher, Stacy Murrah, who leads that program. She is a kid magnet. And she is absolutely fantastic, and she and Heather Willis work really closely together. And so that's not an HR thing that I can take credit for. Those ladies do an amazing job working with our students, and we've been able to partner alongside them to really think through how can we keep our students coming back to the district.
I love that. Thank you.
Jill, a few more just to clarify on the teacher incentive allotment. So we're in phase 1 exploration. The committee's been formed. They'll meet the rest of this year to develop the application. I'm assuming that's how the program would work in our district.
Yeah, so the application, so this spring, we're going to be meeting to really understand the data that we have from the surveys, and we will begin to look at what are all of the growth measures we already have in place for all of our different components. You heard Larissa talk about AMIRA and NWEA and all of those different pieces. So because there is a growth component required, so it's not around achievement, it's around growth. So so we have to identify what are the growth measures in each grade level and each content, and that takes a while to really flesh out. And so a lot of the work that we will be doing in the fall is really going to be looking at every single grade level and content, and what are already things that are in place for growth, and if we don't have a growth measure, what could we look at? And is there a cost to that, or is there something within the district that we can create to capture that data? So it'll be starting to kind of break down all of those pieces.
Okay, so when you say all grades, it's beyond just star grades.
Correct.
So that there's data that can be analyzed for any grade, okay? So once, and then April, it gets submitted to the state for approval by June to commence the next year?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So once you submit an application, you submit an application with the idea that the state is going to approve it. If there are any concerns, the state may send it back for tweaks. But then you have to be planning already in the spring semester when you submit your application that you're going to be ready to launch as soon as the school year starts, because the timeline is so short. If you're not preparing for that by spring, you're not going to be ready for the fall semester.
Okay, thanks.
Great presentation, Ms. Murrah. I'll echo what you said about Ms. Murrah and her enthusiasm. I know she invites some of us to come and speak to her future teachers over at Champion High School, and they are just so excited, and it's really encouraging to see that program grow. So thanks for all the effort that you and Ms. Willis put into those students. Next, we have actions. Administrative Services, consider and take possible action regarding resolution related to Texas Education Code 25.0823, Senate Bill 11. And to speak on this matter, Dr. O'Hare.
All right, thank you. Good evening, President Schmidt, members of the board, Dr. Kraft. I'm coming before you this evening to share information regarding a resolution related to Texas Education Code, Section 25.0823, Senate Bill 11, and prayer in schools. During the 89th legislative session, Senate Bill 11 was passed, requiring school boards to vote on whether to adopt a resolution establishing a designated period of prayer and religious reading during each school day for students and employees. Senate Bill 11 became effective on September 1, 2025. As stated in Section 3 of Senate Bill 11, not later than 6 months after the effective date of this act, each Board of Trustees of a school district and each governing body of an open enrollment charter school shall take a record vote on whether to adopt a resolution described by Section 25.0823 of the Education Code as added by this act. While the new law does not require the board to adopt a policy for prayer, board action must be taken by March 1, 2026 on whether it wants to adopt a resolution on such policy. The rights of students to pray and read scripture during the day is already well established. The First Amendment protects private, voluntary religious expression while prohibiting school-sponsored or coerced religious activity. The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld these rights, ruling that students have the right to pray at school as long as the prayer is student-initiated and not disruptive. And nothing in the U.S. Constitution prohibits a public school student from praying at any time during the school day. Fifth Circuit Court has also upheld these rights, ruling that students may pray in groups during non-instructional time as long as they are not disruptive or harassing other students. Laws in Texas also protect these rights. Texas Education Code 25.091 states that a public school student has the absolute right to pray or meditate individually, momentarily, and silently during the school day. Texas Education Code 25.154 provides that students may organize prayer groups, religious groups, and other religious gatherings during the school day to the same extent that students can engage in other types of non-religious activities. Current BISD policy also protects these rights. Board policies FNA Legal and FNA Local provide that students may individually, voluntarily, and silently pray or meditate while at school, provided it's non-disruptive. Already in BISD, we support these rights daily in multiple ways. We have daily moments of silence and reflection. over the intercom at every campus, every day. We have a moment of silence and reflection at every board meeting. We have student-led prayers at events. We have student-organized religious clubs with faculty sponsors, campus meetings, and equal access to announcements. Examples include the Fellowship of Christian Athletes programs at every middle school and high school. We have a First Priority Club this year at Bernie High School. We have a Jesus Club this year at Champion High School. We have a Charging Towards Christ Club at Bernie Middle School South. We have participation in national events such as See You at the Pole, which is student-led and voluntary. Additional examples include students' ability to read religious texts during lunch, between classes, or other non-instructional time. Accommodations for students observing religious fasting, including alternate lunch locations when requested. Ministers and Young Life staff volunteer at lunch or visit with specific students with parent permission. Ministers are able to attend extracurricular activities. Both BHS and CHS football players pray before and after games on the field. And we have student-led Bible studies before and after school in coffee shops, at restaurants, and in the Bernie ISD also respects employee religious expression. Employee rights to religious expression depend on whether the employee is acting in the course of and scope of their employment or in their official capacity as employees representing the school district. District employees are generally allowed to express their religious beliefs while not acting in an official capacity. However, they can also do so if their expression does not coerce they can only do so if their expression does not coerce students. Given the nuances in law and cases, the district works closely with employees to ensure compliance with law and policy. Federal law, Texas statute, and local policy already allow students to pray, read religious texts, and organize religious clubs during non-instructional time. Student and staff rights to religious expression remain unchanged regardless of whether the board adopts a Senate Bill 11 resolution. Senate Bill 11 will introduce additional operational impact. Senate Bill 11 adoption requires written consent, a strict physical and auditory separation of non-participating students, and compliance monitoring by district staff. Senate Bill 11 speaks to providing a daily period of prayer and reading religious text and does not specifically permit any other activity during this period. And this period may not be a substitute for instructional time. These operational impacts would likely require a policy to address. The board has been presented with 2 resolutions for review. Both resolutions affirm that the Board of Trustees acknowledge and support the rights of students and staff to engage in voluntary, non-disruptive religious expression, including prayer, in accordance with state and federal law. The resolutions differ beginning in the 5th paragraph. Resolution option A declines to adopt the policy under Senate Bill 11 and affirms the board's commitment to continue to seek legal guidance on how a policy would impact district operations. Resolution B states the district shall adopt a policy requiring BISD campuses to participate in a period of prayer and reading the Bible or other religious text as provided by the Texas Education Code, Section 25.0823. At this time, we'll open it up for questions or discussion for the board.
I've got a question for you. What funding has been allotted for this extra period of time that will be added to our day?
There's no additional funding associated with Senate Bill 11, sir.
I mean, my understanding, I think the Senate already passed probably the most rehensive bill to allow school prayer, and that was whenever they implemented standardized testing. I think nothing's brought prayer to a classroom more than that.
Yes, sir. It's a common saying that as long as you have testing in school, you'll have prayer in schools.
As long as you have disruptive students, you'll have prayers in schools. It seems very equal to what we're already doing in Bernie ISD. I'd be happy to take any other comments from the board. It was a good presentation of the bill. It seems we have control. We have more control over this, and maybe this is out there for those districts who don't have the FCA and don't have the things that we're lucky enough to have here in Bernie with our community. So I'd entertain any other comments or questions.
Yeah, a few thoughts on this. I've spoken to some trustees in other districts, that have voted, and I'm not really sure how aware they are of what's actually in the bill. I'm not sure how many have actually read it. I mean, I did read it, and I also spoke to the senator who authored the bill in the state Senate. I met him when I was testifying in Austin on a school finance bill, and gave me his number, and I called him up Friday night at 8:30, and 8 o'clock Saturday morning, he called me back. I was shocked. He's running for Attorney General, and he took the time to call a trustee from Bernie. I thought that was pretty cool. We spoke for quite a while, so he just confirmed my understanding of what was in the bill. And I also reached out to our local rabbi here in Bernie, because a lot of people assume this is like a Christian thing, when really the law says religious texts. So it could be the Torah, it could be, anything. So, and I noticed that the bill passed on a bipartisan basis in the Senate, which on an issue like this quite often is a little unusual. About a third of the minority party actually voted for SB 11. Senators West, Chuy Hinojosa, and Judith Safrini all voted yes. And they had all voted no against the posting of the 10 Commandments in the schools, because they felt that was unconstitutional. But Senator Royce, being an attorney, felt that this legislation was constitutional. And the Fifth Circuit of the Court of Appeals just upheld Louisiana's law on the 10 Commandments, which is very similar to Texas's law. So if that was deemed constitutional by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, one would think that if some group were to sue, that SB 11 would be felt constitutional as well. So I think from those points of view, legally wise, I don't really know that we have an issue, but I asked myself the question, how is SB 11 different from what we do now? There are some differences. It would allow, whether it's a youth pastor or a chaplain or a rabbi or a parent, to be in the school in a closed room where you're shielded from other students, so they can't be accused of indoctrination, and they could actually study a religious text, whether it's apologetics or what have you. They could study it, and that would be different than what we have today in our schools. So I really didn't think that was anything that was overly radical. It's totally voluntary. Parents have to give their permission, so it's not as if there's, I just think that's reasonable. And the other thing is, in the event of any litigation, which could come about, the Attorney General on this bill is required to defend school districts that adopt this policy. So that would not be an issue for us. So those are just some thoughts and backgrounds on what I've uncovered. And I also spoke at length to one of the individuals in the state who was very active in the effort to pass SB 11. And I learned a lot from this individual.
I'd like to talk a little bit about that. So it's kind of funny. I talked with the rabbi, I believe, a couple hours after you spoke with the rabbi. He was having some travels today. So, but I wanted to touch on and just get somebody who might be a less of the, as far as the Jewish capacity in our community is a smaller group, and trying to think of smaller groups that might be affected by this. But my first kind of concern in addressing with him was the middle aspect of what we have as far as school safety goes, and feeling marginalized communities feeling more marginalized, or people finding that they don't have a home and they don't fit in. That really concerns me on this bill. And then talking with the safety officers about, as far as how do we staff this? How do we find the manning, and what does that look like budgetary wise? And with that budgetary constraints, what does that really add to our students in changing the value that they have? I feel very, very blessed that we have a community that's very religious centric, and I think it really represents itself in our students. I think that's pretty obvious whenever we go to any function, that they have a strong faith, whatever that faith may be, and that starts at home. and that starts with their family. So I'm really excited to see that we have that, and I think there's definitely communities that don't have that, and I think that's what this bill is written for. Looking at how it's written, I think that's kind of the crux of it, was for communities that need to have a better understanding of a higher power. And I feel very, very blessed that we have that. And I think looking at this, I don't see there's any reason, if something were to change in the future and we see somebody's doing it in a really good way, why we couldn't come back and readdress it at that time.
I think Bernie is, what makes Bernie so special is our community. I think about, I'm grateful that we do reside in a district that supports our students participating in non-instructional time frame activities before and after school. And even personally speaking, I have kiddos that carry their Bibles to school and read whenever they're finished with their studies, and that's never been frowned upon by educators, and I appreciate that. I think what SB 11 is trying to create is, I mean, we live in a district, as I'm saying, just really wants to support kids and foster environments where kids can live out their faith and practice their faith, however that looks to those individuals before or after school. I think what Senate Bill 11 is trying to do, and I think how it would affect our district, is where it would create a space and an opportunity to be able to do so. So, for example, these Bible studies that are taking place, a lot of the Bible studies take place off campus. So you have many students that are meeting at local coffee shops, banks, Jefferson Bank across the street from North, down Blanco, and residencies. I have kiddos that lead the Bible studies and some that attend, but I'm speaking for our students. There's countless students that are involved in these Bible studies, and I believe SB 11 would create space and opportunity before or after school, with permission from parents to be able to meet on campus, along with other organizations that want to have opportunities and have boundaries and structures after they would opt in for their kids to participate. So I just believe it creates opportunities, and we are so blessed in our community to have individuals that really champion our kids, whatever background they come from. And I believe that we live out that value every day, core value of every child every day. I know that there are kids from many different backgrounds that practice their faith differently or don't practice it at all. And I believe that's what makes this bill something that would work for us if we were to adopt it tonight, because students, parents would have the choice to participate or not. But this simply creates a framework and opportunity to where they can on campus. And so that's where I see value in this. And I do appreciate it. And I'm so grateful that my kids attend a school that we have staff and peers that encourage them to live out their faith, whatever that may look like, or witness or encourage, whatever that is, that we have the freedom. And Bernie ISD already protects, even without Senate Bill 11, our school district protects our students' rights. And I think we live in a great place for that, and I appreciate that greatly. So that's my personal take on that, but I certainly respect my fellow trustees and their opinions as well. And we may have differing opinions, and that's great too. That's why we're elected officials, that we can stand together. And I will promise you this, the most important thing we do is we think about our students and our staff. Is this a good decision for our students and staff? That's what I go to bed feeling good about every night. If every decision I make stands up for our students and staff, then I've done my job for the day. So when we come together with majority, we're a family, and we believe in this community. We love this community. That's why we live here, and we get to serve here. It's truly an honor. Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Just when you talk about creating a space for students, under our FNA local, when you look at our student club process, students, if they go online in between the start of school and the month at the end of September, they can fill a packet and they can start a student-led club in our secondary schools. They do have to get other students to sign up. We require parent permission for that. In the recent legislative session, they passed a law stating that you had to have parent permission for student clubs. Bernie ISD, of course, was ahead of the curve, and we've been doing that already for a couple of years with our student clubs. If they get their club application approved by the campus principal, they do get a space to meet on campus. There's a little more legwork. It requires more than just parent permission. They've got to fill out a club application and file it and gain a staff monitor. What's slightly different about Senate Bill 11 is the ability of staff to participate in the reading of the Bible and the reading Bible religious text and prayer. Whereas with our student clubs process, we do assign a staff monitor, but that staff monitor's role is really just to facilitate opening up the space for the student, making sure the students are safe.
That's a good way of looking at it. It's not mandatory, it's strictly voluntary, but it would allow that adult, Yeah.
I got a question for you. How would you separate the like availability here? Because whenever I read the bill, it's very clear about there being a dedicated space that someone can't just walk by and hear it, so I'm like, that to me is very different than what you were saying. I love that. That seems really simple. But how do we enforce, or how do we make that happen? Is there like decimal readers? I don't even know. What does that look like?
I think we have to remember our job tonight is to approve or deny a policy. And that policy, we have room to shape that policy, and that policy isn't going to happen tomorrow, maybe, next school year. And we have the authority to cancel that policy if we see fit, which is in the resolution. So I think tonight is about approving or not approving that policy, and not really worrying about the logistics. So.
I think that's a good point, Christy, because really what we envision, we approve policies, administrators formulate the policies that we then approve. So clearly they would be responsible for developing a system that would work for our community with reasonable amounts of oversight or what have you. So I have absolute confidence that our administration could find a way to make this work.
And I think it's important to reiterate, sorry, Dr. Kraft, that we wouldn't expect anything to take place overnight, but it would be a process that we work and learn together if we were to adopt this policy.
And I was just going to add, tonight is simply the resolution, whether you want us to proceed or not, on developing a policy. And so with any new initiative, it takes time for us to operationalize what it looks like. And we would be awaiting guidance from TASB. The Attorney General's office, and the bill also states that they would be providing model consent forms. And so there would be other resources available to us as we work through developing a policy. And if you recall, we began a new process called the Policy Committee, where we have board liaisons who are on the Policy Committee. So we would be following that process of bringing you all updates along the way. And then remember, it comes to a board meeting for first reading and a second reading. And so this would be, just want you to all understand, there will be a length of time where it does take us to develop what the policy would actually say.
Yeah, I think, Dr. O'Hare, you said it well there as far as, there's been a lot of great points made, but as far as just talking about the differences between what we do now and then what this does. When I first heard about this and started digesting it, I thought, man, this is just another thing that the state's trying to do to us. When in fact, actually, the state did a lot of great stuff in this last legislative session. But they didn't necessarily fund this, and so that was my initial blush on it was, what would it take to do this? How do you administrate it? But as I started looking at it more and more, I start getting excited about this because there are some key differences, and I get excited about it not just as a Christian and from people in Christianity that might want to take advantage of this, but for all religions. I think we're not picking one religion over another and saying only one's going to be able to do this. Everybody would be able to, and I think that's good. I think it's good for people to be able to exercise their freedom of religion, and for us to, as much as possible, where it's constitutional, and I think this is, remove those barriers to exercising religious freedom. I go back to at the very beginning of the book of Proverbs, it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And you know, when you think about we're in the business of facilitating the gaining of knowledge, it seems appropriate to increase access to spiritual and religious training in any capacity that we could, you know, as long as it makes sense, and as long as there's parental consent, which we would have here. So, you know, I think another key thing about this that gives me, at least in option B, that gives me comfort with it is we've got the eventuality there that we could, you know, if we did adopt this, that we have the right to end it at any time. So if this did become too onerous on staff and people in the district, I think that we would need to stay nimble here, you know, and if the policy couldn't come together in the way we wanted it to, I think we would want to be nimble and be careful about that. So anyways, we have so many things that we're doing already. I don't see this being a big change to how we do business, but it could be, you know, and it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. So I like, you know, I like option B, and I think it's an opportunity for the district.
I share that. I share that view, and you know, I think a lot of districts in the state, they have one line resolution saying they decline. And I don't, and I watched some board meetings, I really question how much thought they put into it. And the analogy I would make is that a ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built for. They're built to navigate and to explore. And I think Garrett's point about opening the door to knowledge is a good one. And I think it's an opportunity for us with SB 11 by adopting a policy or asking the administration to develop the policy. That's really what the resolution calls for, would be a good thing.
I want to say to Dr. O'Hare, thank you for your time on this for sure. And also thank you for clarifying about space, because that was something I wanted to learn more about and needed to hear more about. So let me restate. I think Senate bill, and correct me if I'm wrong, would aim to carve out time for our students to be able to practice their faith before or after instructional time frame. It would just create time, carve out time, make it kind of built into their day if they so choose to participate. Would you say that's an accurate statement for Senate Bill 11?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying.
So I want to take just a little bit different approach. Number one, I think the Senate Bill 11, the opportunity that it provides is phenomenal, and I agree with all of the comments about that. This has nothing to do against Senate Bill 11. To me, this is kind of chicken and egg. So we can adopt a policy that says, or adopt a resolution that says we're going to develop a policy without any guidelines from TEA or the state, or we can say, let's not adopt the resolution in favor and let the state work all the issues out, because we're already doing all these things, and that way we're not trying to figure out how to make the policy work later when we actually know what the bolts and nuts can be. To me, that would be the time that you adopt a policy.
If they give us 6 months.
Me, right?
Give us 6 months.
I think, you know, as far as the policy goes, they give you so much latitude. I mean, yeah, they're going to give us guidelines and how it might look, but you have so much latitude in how you can do this. I don't foresee that what we do necessarily looking like what the state gives us. And I think that's why that verbiage in there that we can rescind this at any time is important, because, you know, I think it'd be better to me to try to do it. You know, there might be some kinks, work the issues, but, you know, have the opportunity to do that. This is kind of one of those things where, you know, it's probably tougher to bring it back than to try it and try to work it out, you know.
I would think just the opposite. I think once you pass something, it's harder to stop it. Social Security.
Here's my question. So, and excuse me, I may not fully understand. So tonight we're going to make a resolution that if we want policy or not. Once that policy is made, that would come back? So at that time, if we do not feel that policy is in line with the vision we want our district to go, we at that time could say, we're not going to approve it, and that's the end? I mean,
Yeah.
like, we don't have to have any repercussions back to the state or,
That's correct. It would work just like the policies you approved this evening in update 126, where we would bring it to you in first reading for review. You could give us feedback on it. If we got limited feedback, if we adjusted the feedback, we'd bring it back for second reading and approval. And the board at that time could decide to approve or not approve that specific policy. You could send us back to the drawing board to draw another policy again and revisit that process. Just follows the board's policy adoption process.
okay, I just want to make sure. So then additionally, like, as Courtney was saying, it creates the time. How many, well, we haven't done the policy, but like fitting it in our instructional day, do we have the opportunity? It would be before or after our instructional day? It would not be during the, okay, I just
It
wanted to clarify.
specifies in the bill that it's not supposed to substitute for instructional time.
Okay,
And so there's a little bit of, right, what's instructional time?
That's
what's not
kind of what my
instructional
question-
time, right? Before school is cleanly not instructional time.
okay,
After school, pretty cleanly not instructional time, although an extracurricular coach might disagree with me there. Lunch is not instructional time, so you could do some things during lunch. We would consider advisory instructional time for
Okay.
a good chunk of advisory because we provide content for that in some cases.
and that is different. It's differentiating than what we already do because we already have these clubs that meet before and after school. It's the big difference is, I'm reiterating, is that the teachers would be able to help facilitate these
And participate.
and participate. So that is really the big difference from what we're already currently established with our clubs and our praying and all that we offer.
As I see it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Or
Just wanted clarification.
adults or community members,
Or parents.
chaplain, youth
They-
pastor.
They wouldn't be student-led like we currently.
Okay, because our clubs have to have a facilitator as of now, but it no longer would be a facilitator. They could be a participant.
And that's just more for like supervision, not necessarily guidance or
Okay.
leadership.
I just wanted to
So
clarify.
I think if I'm looking at like Bernie, like we do a lot of fellowship. A lot of us do a lot of community, and that's what we pride ourselves on is community. And so I see this being a good conversation for us to entertain and to review policy to see if it would work. But it certainly seems like it would be a good opportunity to include staff to be able to participate if they so desire to live out their faith in whatever capacity that look like.
I think that's an important distinction that, because yeah, I don't think you want to go into a policy, just jump in without, knowing what it is, but we have time to put it together. And if you don't start the process, in my opinion, it doesn't get started.
Well, we do have to take a vote by March 1st. That's in the law. And, so in light of the fact that, Magnolia ISD adopted this the other night and said, hey, it's going to begin in the 26, 27 year. Yeah, 26, man, it's already a 26, 27 year. And I think that's in all likelihood what we would do as well. I don't think it makes sense to start something in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not strongly in favor or disfavor of doing it. I love the concept. I love the accessibility it provides. I love the support that it provides and the access to it. So, I'm happy with either way. I just like knowing the rules before I play a game sometimes, but I'm happy either way.
Well, and that's why I wanted to clarify that if we do move forward on this resolution, that to do a policy that we at any time can be like, never mind, we are not.
Well, it says in the second to last paragraph in the resolution, whereas if this resolution is passed to adopt a policy in accordance with Texas Education Code Section 25.0823, then the Bernie Independent School District has the right to end this policy or cancel its implementation at any future date and for any reason should it choose to do so.
Based on that, Madam President, if you would accept a motion, I move that the Bernie ISD Board of Trustees approve the resolution with option B, affirming student and employee rights to voluntary prayer, reflection, and reading religious texts.
Motion by Rich Senna,
Second.
second by Garrett Wilson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can you hold up so I can see? Okay, so we have Carlin Fryer, Sarah Falkenberry, Christy Schmidt, Courtney Daughter, Bruce, Rich Senna, and Garrett Wilson. Motion carries.
Well, you have to see who's opposed.
Oh, all opposed, same sign. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Kraft, did you have anything to add to that? Bill
I
11?
just would want to say thank you for your guidance. Adopting policy is a primary responsibility of the board, and this was an interesting bill and how it came to us. And all boards are taking a vote by March 1st. And members of my staff and I, we have been tracking what's happening around the state, and so we'll be looking at districts that are adopting a policy or adopted a resolution to develop a policy. And so we'll be coordinating with those school districts to learn together. We will bring you updates along the way. And just, I know you have reiterated it a number of times, but developing policy takes time. And so when you have a new initiative, we want to be very thoughtful and planful and just take the time we need to build in all the operational aspects for a policy. Thank you.
Thank you. For business, we have consider and take possible action regarding the adoption of a resolution concerning the Kendall County Appraisal District Building Plan. Before we begin, if there's anyone, members of the board, based on family or work history, would like to be recused from this discussion or voting, you may do so by raising your hand. Dallas Pipes. Mr. Scott, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. On December 10th, the Board of Directors of the Kendall County Appraisal District approved a plan to renovate the Appraisal District's current building at 118 Market Avenue, Bernie, Texas, and construct a 5,600 square foot addition under Texas Property Tax Code 6.051B. Taxing entities and an appraisal district must approve such an action with a 75% approval of their governing body. So just a reminder that appraisal, the only revenue from appraisal district are the taxing entities that fund their budget. There are 13 taxing entities in the Kendall County Appraisal District. They pay operating expenses of the appraisal district by a percentage of their tax levy to the entire tax levy. So Bernie ISD pays 50% of the appraisal district budget.
Wes, just a real quick question on that. So the 75% approval, is that 75% of the voting, of the funding percentages, or 75% of the number of entities?
It's 75% of the number of, so even though we do pay 59% of the budget, we get 1 out of 13.
So Wes, to Carlin's point, is that 75% of the entities listed on the cover sheet?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay.
Yeah, to my knowledge, sir. You've been provided with a packet of information that was provided by the appraisal district that goes over the resolution itself adopted by the board, the governing law, and some question and answers that the district sent to the appraisal district in the fall to get a feel for this this resolution, and then the drawings and schematics for what they're the approximate cost, construction cost of this addition would be $7,000. The appraisal district is considering a 20-year debt fund on this. The approximate impact to Bernie ISD is around $3,000 in 27-20 fiscal. I want to recognize Rex Sprunger, who is here with us today. He is one of the district's appointed board members of the appraisal district. He's here to answer any questions that you might have about the need for
$83,000 for how many years, Mr. Scott?
20.
20.
Now, at our finance committee meeting, Chris Godsey and Nelia McNeil came from the board, and I guess Nellie is the chief appraiser. And they went through the history. Their current building that they're in on Market Street cost $800,000 to construct 15 years ago, and they sold the old building they had on Main Street for $800,000. So it was a revenue neutral. So there was no building fund or money that the various tax entities had to pay into, because the old building sold for what the new building, which was kind of nice. And Chris pointed out also that over the past 15 years, the Kendall County CAD had refunded over $1.1 million in unspent budget money to the tax entities, of which our share was roughly $600,000. So that was $600,000 that was reduced from our annual payments to them over the last 15 years. The other thing that Wes pointed out, Wes initiated with the CAD, but they honored it, they did it, was having wanted to get our money when the tax monies come in October, November, December, January, that it gets submitted to us on a daily basis as opposed to at the end of the month. And when you do the math of, okay, October, we get 70% of our money because people want that 3%. I could kick myself. I forgot to do it. I did it November 1st, so I only got 2%. But that's okay. I got the 2%, you know. And so when you figure out the math that we were collecting money throughout October, even early October, we generated more in interest earnings because Wes invests it, and I'm estimating 30 to 40 grand of extra interest income based on the fact that we now get money on a daily, every other day basis as opposed to the end of the month. And the reason I bring that up is because the cost is $82,300 according to their statement over 20 years. The rate could go lower, but that's the rate they feel they're going to get. And we've, because of process improvements, generated an extra 30 to 40 grand per year in interest, plus the savings, which average roughly 30 to 40,000 over the last 15 years. I just point that out because that kind of offsets, you know, some of the 82,000. But Rex, do you have any data on, because I mean, obviously our tax levy is a lot more than it was 15 years ago. The community's grown hugely in 15 years. Do you have any data on the cost for every dollar of levy we collect? And is it more efficient or less efficient than it was 15 years ago?
So 15 years ago, 58 as a levy. 2025, 116. The actual cost of doing, while it did increase, it was a 5% reduction average. So if you took the total expense that we charge for NAIS and you take it toward levy, we're actually operating a more efficient process right now.
Does that answer your question?
Can I make one other comment?
Yes.
So 75% of must approve, and there's a list of 30. But as a board, I could tell you we would be very hard pressed to approve this if it just 60, you got 59% of the fund. It would not be the right. So I don't want you thinking, well, you know, we got of 13, we got 7 in our pocket or whatever, we got 10 in our pocket, whatever. That's not work. So you guys are by far the biggest supporter of
And I appreciate that comment. You know, a couple of the other things I think that we learned in the finance committee meeting that were very helpful for me were, we've already gone down you guys have already gone down the road of adding a portable, which would be something that we would do, right? When we run out of space, we add a portable. Try not to do that on a permanent basis. Hopefully they're not permanent. Eventually you build a building to replace them, but the cost of that came in fairly close to do a portable with all the hookups and everything and getting on site. It was close to the cost that it would take to build this. And so if you could have a portable versus a permanent structure for roughly the same cost, you know, obviously you're going to choose the other one. You know, also, I think there's been talk of offering the CAD meeting space in, you know, maybe at this facility, our facility, or other facilities around at the other taxing entities. But in talking through that in the finance committee meeting, that's really not a good option. It's just not feasible to have the appraisers at these ARB meetings, you know, with all the discussion that goes in there and all of those, how they're arranged back to back to back, and trying to arrange the appraiser schedule where they would be sometimes at the CAD, but then they're showing up for ARB meetings like here at the district, and we'd have to have you know, we don't necessarily have a permanent room that we could give them for that anyways, and they'd be operating in two different places. That didn't really make a lot of sense as we talked through that. Also, I feel like they're getting a pretty good price for this building if they can pull this off at the cost that they're talking about. It comes out to $294 a square foot, which in the city of Boerne for commercial space is pretty good. That and then their financing that they get make this a much more feasible option than renting. So the financing that they're getting is tax-free. It's like a muni bond, right? So it's they get a preferred tax rate that, say, somebody that built this and then rented it to them would not get, probably by 2 or 3% difference in the interest rate. And so rental is just more expensive anyways than owning typically, but it's that difference is even magnified in their case because they get preferred financing as an appraisal district. So it makes even more sense to just build it and own it than to rent. So yeah, those were some things that I think helped me, you know, with this.
Now, Rex, there was discussion, and remind me, there was discussion about once the county reaches 75,000 people, which we will for sure be there by, I think, 2040. I think we're at about 56, 57,000 right now, somewhere in that range. What are the parameters and regulations that would drive your space? Aren't there? Tell us about that.
Are. And, you know, when we looked at, we're one of the fastest, as you well know, we're looking at reaching 70,000. Somewhere. And so our proposal is a little bit trying to be proactive, because once the county hits 75,000, the state mandates that we have additional conference availability for appraisal. So right now we have some of you. It's a relatively small where we do the ARP process. That would need to be bigger, and then we would have to have 2 or 3 additional one-on-one. So that's coming down the road anyways, and this building would give us capacity to do that, and really capacity.
Are there plans to add additional employees as part of this plan?
Right now, currently the building has 17 employees. Last year we had. This year we've already added 2 and 1 in the collection. And I would expect growth. We're going to number of parcels that we are appraising has increased by 34% over the past decade. And right now, we're averaging somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 additional parcels every. So it just, the state requires it to appraise it.
In addition to the extra parcels, I know there are more protests. What's the history of the protests?
Yes. So in 2015, we were doing 1,400 protests, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not, because the last two were averaging, one year was 5,600, one year was 7,000, and we're expecting about 6,000 this year. So those numbers keep our space requires ability to get safe. Right now, the way the building or the conference really citizens, they're walking off like separate, especially with
Well, Mr. Fryer, did you have a question?
I was just going to say, Rex, thanks for stepping up and being one of our representatives on the board. I know that's not a glorious position, but thank you for doing it.
very enjoyable.
Yeah.
This evening has been enjoyable too. I was FFA, so I thoroughly enjoyed listening to those folks and their speaking ability and how they present. I did not know.
Good. Just from perspective standpoint, so where the appraisal district used to be, the chamber bought that. So that's the chamber offices now, if you didn't know that. So that's where the appraisal district was, and then they bought the building out on the market. So to me, size-wise, we'll look at the growth of the county from the building they were in, what they're in today, what, the growth is coming. It just makes sense. We certainly, if I, take the same perspective of us, look at what we were in administrative-wise down the street that's now the academy and what we've had to grow to over a pretty similar amount of time. Right? So
I just wanted to comment. We talk about collaboration and partnership and community and fellowship and all the things, but we want to be partners. We want to be good neighbors and all those things. So I think it's definitely something up for consideration, obviously, tonight, that we can really put our heads together on it. But definitely appreciate your support for our district and all that you do for us. That's not.
I'm gonna echo what Courtney just said, because in my discussion with Chris Godsey, she kept emphasizing how, along with Rex and Jonathan Cluck, they are our representatives to the appraisal board, and how they view themselves as our partners, and they are our advocates. I mean, that kept stressing that point, which is why, I know Wes was delighted to hear that we were going to get our money on a more regular basis, and 35,000 out of $100 million plus budget may not seem like a lot, but it's half a teacher, and that's how you got to look at it. Yeah.
We also generally try to operate. So we generally that's pretty much.
Yeah, I appreciated how knowledgeable y'all were and how much y'all thought through this process and how willing you were to answer our questions and stuff in the meeting. So,
Any other questions or comments? I entertain the motion.
I move to approve regarding the December 10th, 2025 resolution of the directors of the Kendall County Appraisal District regarding the renovation addition to its existing building.
Motion by Garrett Wilson, Second by Carlin Fryer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. 7-0, sorry. Yes. Oh, I had it right the first time. Thank you very much. Monthly financial report and board action on financial matters directly related to those reports, including budget amendments, investments, donations, and tax collection reports. Mr. Scott.
Good evening, everybody. You've been provided the results of operations for the period ended January 31st, 2026. That's 58% through the fiscal year. Some highlights of the budgetary comparison schedule. Focus on the general fund expenditures. There's been 60% of the general fund budget has been expended through January 31st. That actually agrees to last year. That is consistent with the expectations developed when we developed the budget. Also would want to point you to the Child Nutrition Fund, which has a $37,000 surplus year to date. There is a, at another point in time, I can bring our participation rates in the Child Nutrition have continued to increase year over year, and that sustained participation has helped drive that surplus. We have no budget amendments in this report. In the donations report, the district received over $65,000 in donations for the month of January, including over $10,000 from various donors towards the BISD Scholarship Fund for the incubator pitch. In the tax collection report, the district has collected over $105.7 million out of that $116 million levy that we mentioned earlier. That's 92.3%, which is pretty consistent with prior. That I will turn it over to.
We spent a lot of time on, researching the KCAD. The budget report looked fine to me. I didn't have any questions.
I just have one, and Rex may know the answer to this. We were at one of our meetings last week. I think it was Nelia who might have mentioned that, well, first of all, the uncollectibles from prior years, what's really cool is that last year, by the end of our fiscal year, we had 1.7 million in uncollected taxes from the 24-25 school year. That's down to 500,000 now. So 70% of what was uncollected has now been collected. But I think it was Nellie that mentioned that something like 75% of the unpaid taxes from prior years are being held off till the property sells, and that's an option that elderly folks can do or something like that.
Deferred, so it's
I'm sorry to ask this of you. If there's anything that you said, we just want to make sure that it's heard for our recording.
No, I'll just repeat it. The 75%, the vast majority of that deferred is because of state statute that allows people to defer their tax till death, till they pass, and then the estate would pay it once they sell the property. Sorry.
Any other questions?
I kind of have one. I don't know if I can ask this.
I learned some really interesting stuff as far as agriculture exemptions and during droughts. Can you elaborate on looking over agricultural exemptions and how that affects it during a drought situation?
The simple answer is no.
Yes.
I don't know. Ag is not my area.
Okay, no, I mean, it was just really interesting. So what we learned was basically, because I'm like, I'm in real estate and we have a couple bankers here. You see a lot of properties that are held ag exemption. They're banking land and they're holding on to this stuff that's not getting developed. And, bees died 12 years ago. There's no birds. There's no wildlife. But once the state is deemed in a drought condition, you cannot go back and look at that. So that was new to me being in real estate. But for a tax-wise, man, I hope we get some rain.
We have 4 horses and 26 acres, and we can't keep them fed, so that's something to dig into.
Any other comments, questions? I move to approve the budget amendments, donation report, and tax collection report as presented.
Second.
Motion by Christy Schmidt, second by Rich Senna. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Motion carries. Next, we have future business items, which we have listed: strategic plan goals 1 and 3 report, special education report, IMA TEACS certification. And at that time, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.